everybody. Welcome back to the Roaming Prepper channel. This is your host, Pete, and thank you once again for joining me. As I mentioned on a prior video, I've not yet officially announced my backup channel. Most of your favorite creators are doing this because we keep getting put in the penalty box. Once I've gotten to that point, unfortunately, I'm just started a graduate school class and I'm helping my new engineer gets up to speed. So it may be a little bit, but eventually I will do this. I will let you all know, but keep an ear out for an announcement once I get to that point. Moving on, thank you for joining me. Once again, like and subscribe. And what am I talking about? Witnessing the fifth column. Are we witnessing the fifth column? What the hell does that mean? I'll be right back. Let's talk a little bit about that. All right, welcome back, everybody. Once again, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. As you all know, times are absolutely tumultuous, like crazy tumultuous. We've got a war in Israel versus Hamas that may spill over into Hezbollah. They've been picking on each other for a while now. We've got Iran making threats. We've got North Korea just made a formal alliance with Russia and China. Uh, a lot going on in Ukraine. We've got things going on in South America. We've got Russian nuke subs in South America. There's a lot, not to mention supply chain, inflation, and all the other things that come with a country that's not being led consistently. And I think all our leaders are confused. We don't have Margaret Thatcher's and Reagan's and the old man Trudeau, and we just don't have the statesmen and women we used to back in the day. So what am I talking about? What is this? Hey, there's no barking here. And so what am I talking about? The fifth column. The dogs are trying to get out. Hey, lay down. There's no fighting today. I don't know what they're fighting about. There's like literally nothing in the room but me and the two dogs. Anyway, um, what is a fifth column? So the fifth column, if I recall correctly, goes back to the Spanish Civil War or maybe Napoleonic age. Essentially, there was a commander approaching another city to attack it. Whoever was collaborating or working with his commander said, "Sir, I thought you had five columns of troops. I only see four." He said, "The fifth column is already in the city." The attack had not yet occurred, but there's a fifth column in the city. I see right now, I'm sure many of you are going, "Gotcha. Yeah, exactly." There are people in the countries. We have done it to Russia, China. I'm sure they've done it to us through our very sad southern border. The bottom line is we are seeing a lot of very strange things. Now, I won't go into the pipeline hacks. I'm going to assume hacks are done remotely. It could be 2 miles away, it could be 2,000 miles away. But there are physical things going on that absolutely ring of sabotage, which is basically what a fifth column would be doing. They would be in the country already with the purpose of creating disruption, death, chaos, or confusion in the suspect country. So I'm going to show you a few things because I honestly believe we're witnessing the front end of this, and I could be wrong. Um, let's see if I can share this. So this is from the Moscow Times. It's supposed to be an independent news from Russia. Russian freight train derails due to suspected sabotage. This actually was in May, but then there was another incident in June. But in any case, Russia's state-owned rail company said Tuesday that the freight train derailed overnight near the southern city of Volgograd due to suspected sabotage. Um, Due to intervention of unauthorized personnel, wagons from the freight train derailed in the town of Kutlobin, a local branch of the Russian railways said. That is 300 kilometers from the border of Ukraine. There were no casualties in the incident, which happened just before Monday. Now, there has also been a more recent derailment, and I couldn't find the specific article I was looking for, where a Korean train, or train from Korea, loaded with Korean ammunition, was traveling through Russia, and there was a derailment or an accused derailment, and they actually showed pictures of of the actual damage to the train. They showed where the rails had been weakened. It looked like with a blowtorch, such that when the train started going over, it it caused the train to fail, or the rail to fail while the train was going over it, and like the fifth car wound up derailing, and then from there it just became a big mess. Um, Oh, and here it is. Thanks to the partisans, a freight train with ammunition derailed. The place of the accident was cordoned off by the FSB and the military of Russia. So they're blaming the Ukrainians or saboteurs. Now, moving on, within a week of that incident, we had this one happen. And let me bring that up for you so you guys can take a peek at that as well. And hopefully the audio works. And maybe not.
More than 60% of sales
Okay,
on
no, we're going to
Amazon
get a
come from
commercial.
independent sellers, like You Simply Season in Ogden.
Well, that sucks. All right. So while that stupid commercial goes and blah blahs over there, um, we had a derailment in North Dakota that had a substantial amount of hazardous material that actually got an entire railroad shut down, or railroad section shut down. It's been shut down for a few days now, and the I'm trying to bring up that video. I thought I had it. Here we go. There we go. So, and apologies for that. I was battling that a little bit. So we'll play that again because it's only a few seconds long. So according to this article, the rail cars carrying hazardous materials derailed in North Dakota on Friday and caught fire in the latest derailment, train derailment as the U.S. in the U.S. as concerns over railroads remains high. Um, I find it hard to believe, quite frankly, that we've been using trains since the 1840s, 1830s, nearly 100. No, I take that back. Almost 200 years of railroad, because 1820s to 1920s to 2020s. So 200 years of railroad, and all of a sudden we forgot how to function with trains. And more importantly, there's been a lot of spills. The Ohio derailment absolutely contaminated an area, including a lot of water sources. We had the ship in Baltimore suddenly veer right in a very bizarre right turn, lost power repeatedly, backup systems didn't work, and it knocked out a bridge, which also coincidentally transports hazardous materials. And now we have this train derailment in North Dakota. It shut down a whole area, also carrying hazardous materials. The Ohio train, hazardous materials. Now, granted, most trains probably carry some type of hazardous material somewhere in those many, many cars they pull. But the point being, there's been a lot of derailments. There've been a lot of eggplants, poultry, die-offs of cattle. What the hell is going on? This is a little too much. When you have this many coincidences, it stops being a coincidence. Are we witnessing the front end of a fifth column movement in multiple countries all at once? Remember, a few weeks ago, I had an article that in Germany and in the UK had an armament factory that actually caught fire, and they're saying it may be arson, but they don't know. And if they do know, they're not going to say anything because it would actually reveal the intelligence they've collected from the incident. Germany had a metal plant, a metal manufacturing plant, like a metallurgy facility, also catch fire in a scrapyard. Now, can these things happen by accident? Yeah, certainly. But Europe is more stringent than even the US when it comes in regards to safety and protocol and environmental protection. So how the hell did we have all these fires break out at once? Now the UK did blame, or they put out warrants for certain people affiliated with Russia. So Britain immediately came out and said, we think the Russians did this, and here's our evidence. And they, I don't know if they caught anyone. I probably need to do an update on that story, but look at what's going on. The train derailments, and these are way past the front lines of Ukraine and Russia, right? We're talking 200, 300 kilometers out there. That's a couple of hundred miles. That's way out there. What the hell's going on? Where are these things coming from? If it was close to the front line, I could say, okay, they got hit with a drone, commando unit came in and sabotaged something. That would be an act of warfare. This stuff, the Korean trail, the Korean ammo train, that was actually a Russian train loaded with Korean ammo. I misstated that earlier. That was on almost in the middle of the country. There's no way this many accidents. This, to me, this just reeks of fifth column stuff. This reeks of sabotage. And quite honestly, what concerns me is the US, Canada, and even now Mexico have an ungodly amount of people who are not from South America, not from North America. They're from all other countries making their way through the border. And if you don't think they won't hurt Canada or Mexico on their way to the US if things popped off, they absolutely would. If an enemy of the US said, "Oh, you know what? We're fighting with the US, but Mexico's supplying, I don't know, natural gas and produce and car parts or whatever it is Mexico sends to the US," they'll go and hurt Mexico to prevent us from getting the needed parts. What you're witnessing, in my opinion, honestly, is the emergence, a very clear emergence of what they now call fifth generation warfare, asymmetric warfare, or fifth column warfare. However you want to phrase it, it's the same thing. You have players who are not formal players of any government or any military going into a foe nation, whatever that foe may be, and causing disruption. My concern is as we get closer to the election, we're after that debate, we clearly have a president who's struggling with his wellness, and whether you like him or not, it's kind of sad to see the guy needs help. Um, this would be a hell of a time to go disrupt the U.S. and delay an election, and sadly, we have politicians within the country who might actually be happy about that, which to me just blows my mind. Um, but in any case, what do we do as preparedness folks? How do we react to this? Well, you need to understand that those kind of disruptions will immediately affect food chains. Train lines from from North Dakotas very often will carry chemicals. So, do you have your household chemicals in order? Your basic ones, your bleach, your ammonia, whatever cleaning supplies you need, right? Because that's something we forget. We talk about food, water, beans, bullets, bandages, but we don't talk about, wow, I actually have to clean surfaces so we don't die of botulism or die of salmonella or some other germ-borne disease that's very easy to deal with, with bleach or ammonia. Do you have the petrochemicals you need? For example, oil to change your car oil. Do you have enough gas or backup gas, even if it's just for household use, like your lawnmower? Also, remember if fuels and chemicals get disrupted, it affects other things. Then you start going into your plastic goods, your canned goods, stuff like that. Understanding how these supply chains affect one another uh, gives you an insight on what you need to be prepping for if those kind of disruptions occur. Bentley just ran my foot over. I don't know what he was doing. He just zipped across the room. It was like a one dog Zoomy and trampled my feet because apparently Bentley is ready to fight the fifth column. But anyway, um, the meantime, the two females are laid out. They're like, yeah, whatever. He's an idiot. In any case, just some insight. Pay attention to your local area. Get to know your local first responders. Get to know, if you have the time, when do trains normally pass? What do they normally carry in my area? I'm in an area with oil and gas, solar, wind, and manufacturing. Like we have all sorts of stuff pass through. What exactly is happening? What goes through my area? How could that affect me if there's a derailment? Because that also informs you how you should prep. Is the prevailing wind from the railroad lines to your house, or is the prevailing wind typically away from you and blowing any chemicals? So if there's a fire or a spill on a railroad track, will it normally blow at you or would it normally blow away? Now, there's no guarantee winds go the other direction all the time, but knowing where the prevailing winds tend to go really helps you understand how you should prep. Do I need to be able to block off my windows if there's a chemical spill with plastic sheeting? Do you have plastic sheeting like contractor sheeting? Are your windows sealed? Do they maintain seal? Or do they need to be reinforced? Do they need to be fixed? Do you need to put a little bit of sealant around the edges of the window? I know everyone's in a different place financially. Buying new windows is not an option for everyone. That's freaking expensive because I've done it in my old house and it's a pain in the butt. But there are other things you can do. You can put extra insulation, extra caulking around the windows, try to seal it off. It not only saves you money on electricity, in an emergency, it keeps things out. Also, remember your pets and your livestock. What do you do with them if there's a chemical spill? Do you have a place to evacuate them to? I got 4 corgis, well, 3.5. You bring them into the house, seal the house, the corgis are safe. Can't do that with a cow. You can't do that with goats. I mean, you can, but it would be awful. So, understanding what you need to do, how you need to think about these preps. What are your contingencies? This is the kind of stuff you want to think about, not so you can panic, but so you can understand what do I need to have in the back of my mind if certain things happen. And again, it's the 80-90, it's the Pareto rule, right? The 80-20. Prep for the 80-90% stuff, not the 10-20% stuff. But in prepping for that 90%, you're going to kind of prep for that 10% too with certain equipment missing. So stay focused on the fundamentals, but know what the lay of your area is, where your railroad tracks, where your natural gas pipelines, where your power lines, where is your water treatment plant, where are your fire stations. Get to know where you are so that you know where the resources are, where help is, and more importantly, where danger or threats may occur. I'm going to leave you with that one, guys and girls. You guys be safe. Y'all take care of yourselves. And I will see you on the next video. And hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, I'll start doing more live streams again now that my backup person is finally in country. Uh, and she did it legally with the support of a company and the company lawyers, 4 months with a master's degree to come into the country. And yet, the people who did what they did to little Jocelyn in Houston, Texas, just got released 3 weeks before they did that. Had they confined them, she'd still be alive. Just a reminder, there's danger in the street. It's not all immigrants because I have a lot of immigrant workers here, new people who are getting their green cards and their work visas, and they're very excited. And they keep asking me, why do they let these bad people in? And I'm like, I don't know. They snuck in with you guys, but then they're not being checked. And I feel bad for them too because they're trying to make a new life. They came here and they're working really hard to try to do the right thing. Those folks can also be an ally because they do things differently in their home country, and that might be a skill set we don't see here. So remember, make friends too and educate them. Tell them, hey, there's danger out there. Do you have food for your family? Trust me, if they come from some of the countries I've seen my friends come from, they probably already think about that because they've gone hungry too. Anyway, I'll leave you with that one. This one a little longer than I thought. God bless, Godspeed. I will see you guys on the next video. Y'all take care of yourselves.